Pull over to the side, sir. The flashing blue and red lights painted the highway in sharp, stuttering colors. Jamal's hands gripped the steering wheel of his wife's Toyota Camry, knuckles tight. His eyes darted to the dashboard clock. 10:47 a.m. He had exactly 1 hour and 13 minutes. Officer Lucy Mitchell approached the driver's window, her hand resting casually on her belt. Jamal rolled down the window, forcing his breathing to steady. License and registration? Officer, I know I was speeding, Jamal began, his voice urgent but controlled. He fumbled for his wallet, checking his watch again. I have an extremely important meeting downtown. I can pay the fine right now, whatever it is, I just... License and registration, sir. Lucy repeated, her tone unchanged. Flat. Unmoved. Jamal handed them over, his phone buzzing in the cup holder. The name Kevin Park, lead investor, flashed across the screen. Please don't answer that, Lucy said, studying his license. She looked at him more closely now, paying attention to his dressing. Jamal wore a company t-shirt, jeans, and sneakers. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Mr. Ali. She drew out his name, glancing back at the Camry. Is this your vehicle? It's my wife's. My Tesla's battery failed this morning, and I had to borrow hers for this meeting. The words came out rushed, desperate. Officer, I'm the CEO of Turtle Tech. We're closing a deal today worth. A CEO. Lucy's eyebrow arched. She looked at his t-shirt again. Aha. I know how this looks, but I can show you my company ID, my emails, anything. Jamal reached for his phone. Keep your hands where I can see them, sir. Jamal's heart sank. Step out of the vehicle, please. What? Why? There's been a recent theft report in this area, matching a similar vehicle description. Step out of the vehicle. The next 45 minutes became a slow-motion nightmare. Lucy searched the Camry with methodical precision. Glove compartment, under the seats, the trunk. She called in the plates. Called in his license. Checked the report. Checked again. Made him stand in the cold while she ran his name for warrants, outstanding tickets, anything. Jamal's phone rang 4 times. Each call from Kevin Park. Each one unanswered. Officer Mitchell, please, Jamal tried again, watching her write the ticket with agonizing slowness. I'm telling you the truth. 1 phone call, and I can prove everything. Just let me. Everyone's got a story, Mr. Ali. She tore the ticket from her pad. You can contest it in court. Drive safely. And maybe leave earlier next time. She walked back to her cruiser. Jamal looked at his watch. 11:34 a.m. He had 26 minutes to make a 40-minute drive. The boardroom fell silent when Jamal burst through the door at 12:08 p.m., his t-shirt rumpled, his breathing heavy. Kevin Park stood at the head of the table, closing his briefcase. 3 other investors were already gathering their things. Mr. Ali. Kevin's voice was ice. We had a noon deadline. I know, I'm so sorry, there was a traffic stop, the officer wouldn't. We've been waiting for 8 minutes, another investor cut in, a woman in a sharp gray suit. We have other commitments. Other opportunities. Please. Jamal moved toward the table. I have everything ready. The presentation, the projections, the integration timeline. We need partners who take this seriously, Kevin said, snapping his briefcase shut. His eyes flicked to Jamal's rumpled t-shirt. Who respect our time. I'm sorry, Mr. Ali, but we're moving on. Kevin, please. We'll be in touch if anything changes. They filed out, one by one, leaving Jamal standing alone in the conference room with the presentation he'd spent a year preparing still glowing on the screen behind him. $100 million gone. The rejection should have killed Turtle Tech. Instead, Jamal bootstrapped. He pitched to 23 investors in 6 weeks. 17 said no, 5 said maybe, 1 said yes with brutal terms. He took the deal. Cut his own salary to 0. The team followed, engineers deferred pay, sales worked on commission. Everyone bet on each other when no one else would. Within 6 months, they landed their first enterprise contract. By the 12th month, Turtle Tech broke even. 18 months in, it was profitable. Expanding. Hiring. The office that once held 8 people now held 70. The Forbes article published in month 16 called it the company that wouldn't die. Jamal called it proof. Next candidate is here. Jamal looked up from his laptop. His HR manager, Amy, stood in the doorway holding a folder. Jeremy Mitchell. Last interview of the day. Jamal nodded absently, rubbing his eyes. Send him in. Jeremy Mitchell walked into the interview room clutching his portfolio against his chest like armor. 27 applications. 4 interviews. 3 ghosted him. This was his last bullet. The man across the table looked younger than his Forbes photo, early 30s, dark skin, sharp suit, eyes that calculated even while smiling. Jeremy Mitchell. MIT, class of 2023. Top of your program, Jamal said, his voice warm silk over steel. Impressive. Thank you, sir. I've been following your zero-trust architecture work for 2 years. Really? Which part? By the third technical question, Jeremy found his rhythm. His hands steadied. He leaned back slightly, almost comfortable. What Jamal didn't expect was the portfolio. He leaned forward, engaged for the first time in weeks. This is excellent work, Jamal said, flipping through it. Jeremy's face lit up. Thank you, sir. I really want to learn from the best. Tell me something, Jamal said, still scanning the pages. Tell me about a time you failed at something you put your all into. How did you handle it? Jeremy paused. Last year, I spent 6 months building an app, a social platform for local musicians. Taught myself Swift. I worked on it every night, pitched it to a few investors. Jamal nodded, still looking at the portfolio. I finally got a real meeting scheduled. Night before it happened, my mom got called in for an emergency shift. She's a cop at Metro PD. Her partner called out sick. Jamal's fingers slowed on the page. She couldn't take me. I don't have a car. Metro was delayed because of construction. I tried rideshares, buses, friends, but nothing worked. Jeremy exhaled. I missed the meeting. The investor never replied. The app died. That's unfortunate, Jamal said, his voice neutral. Yeah. I was devastated for weeks. Then my mom told me something that stuck. She said sometimes life throws things at you that aren't fair, that aren't your fault, but you can't let one closed door stop you from knocking on others. Jamal's finger stilled completely on the portfolio. That's when it struck him. Lucy Mitchell, he said quietly, not looking up. Metro PD. Yes, sir, Jeremy continued, encouraged by what he thought was interest. She works the I-95 corridor. She's taught me a lot about perseverance, about I-95. His doubts were confirmed. Jamal slowly raised his eyes from the portfolio. When did she start working that route? Jeremy blinked, slightly confused by the specific question. She's been there for 3 years. Ago. Why? Does she still work it? Jamal's voice was very controlled. Very quiet. Yes, sir. She does. Jeremy's voice was very controlled. Very quiet. April 15th. 1 year, 6 months ago. Jamal closed the portfolio. Does that date mean anything to you? Jeremy shook his head slowly. I know, sir. Should it? Jamal leaned back in his chair, his eyes never leaving Jeremy's face. Let me tell you a story about perseverance, Jeremy. And closed doors. He told him everything. The Camry, the Tesla battery, the t-shirt and jeans, the call he wasn't allowed to answer, the 45-minute search that found nothing, the 8 minutes that erased a $100 million deal. Officer Lucy Mitchell, Jamal said calmly. Your mother. Working the I-95 corridor. Jeremy's face drained of color. Your mother looked at me and decided I was lying. Because of what I was wearing. Because of the car I was driving. Because I didn't look like what she thought a CEO should look like. Mr. Ali, I'm sure she was just. Just what? Jamal's voice cut through. Doing her job? Being thorough? Jeremy had no answer. His mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. You just told me about missing an opportunity because of circumstances beyond your control. About a closed door that wasn't your fault. Jamal stood slowly, walking to the window. Your mother was the closed door for me, Jeremy. She made a choice, a judgment call, and it cost me everything that I'd built toward. The office fell into crushing silence. I'm so sorry, Jeremy whispered. I had no idea, I didn't. No, you didn't, Jamal turned back from the window. And that's the point, isn't it? Actions have consequences. Sometimes those consequences find their way back in unexpected ways. He walked to the desk, picked up Jeremy's resume. You're qualified, Jeremy. Brilliant, even. Easily one of the best candidates I've seen in months. Jamal looked at the young man's face in the photo, then at the young man sitting across from him, trembling slightly. You had nothing to do with what your mother did to me. You didn't know. You couldn't have known. Jeremy's eyes flickered with desperate hope. But here you, sir, in my office, asking me to open a door for you. The silence stretched. Then Jamal said, So tell me, Jeremy. The clock on the wall ticked. Should I hire you? Jeremy's hands gripped the armrests of his chair. His breathing was shallow. The confidence that had carried him through the interview had shattered completely, leaving only a young man faced with the consequences of something he never did, never knew about, and couldn't have prevented. Finally, Jamal said, This conversation, it deserves time. He slid the resume back into the folder. I won't make a decision today, Jamal said evenly. The team will review everything. If we're interested, you'll hear from us. Jeremy nodded slowly, swallowing hard. Thank you for your honesty, sir. Jamal watched him leave. The clock on the wall ticked. And somewhere on the I-95 corridor of the city, Officer Lucy Mitchell was pulling over another car, writing another ticket, completely unaware that her judgment call from 18 months ago had just found its way back to her doorstep.